Carson Hocevar is by all accounts NASCAR's next superstar.
He's quotable, he's promotable, and he's what, only 23?
The next driver to finally break out into the mainstream after years of NASCAR stars failing to properly do so. Whether it's from his driving style on the track, the clips you see from his live streams he does off the track, or him out and about with some of the largest internet personalities in the country, the average sports fan has seen Carson Hocevar on their screen in more ways than any of the other drivers on the grid. But getting even remotely close to this level of fame is a massive achievement for Hocevar, a driver who is mostly known for his on-track incidents over anything else early in his career. So how did a young and brash Carson Hocevar manage to turn around his public perception so quickly? And how did he become one of the most popular and polarizing figures in NASCAR just years after entering the sport? On December 4, 2018, Spire Sports and Entertainment purchased a charter from Furniture Racing, taking over the number 77 and setting themselves up to run the full 2019 Cup season with an array of drivers at the wheel. Spire's first season in NASCAR's Premier Series would go far better than they could have hoped for, as despite a 32nd place average finish across all 36 races, being one of the worst teams in the garage week in and week out, they would luck out and catch lightning in a bottle, crossing first win off their bucket list immediately in year one, in one of the most unlikely of ways.
The line as the racing continues, Austin Dillon up. They shifted him out.
Gonna be a big
And
one.
now around goes the three in front of the pack. They're all collected. The 11 with damage, the 22 as well.
Big right here. How about this? A non-cup regular could win this race. One of the guys trying to come in here like McDowell, who's in second place, and get a win and lock himself into playoffs, doesn't get that opportunity.
So it's Haley in the 77 and McDowell in the 34. They're making up row one. But again, we went back to caution. They're not going to come to green here. So not only is it raining now, but it looks like another wave of the hard rain is coming.
Congratulations.
Thank you, buddy.
Go see your family.
You're seeing it live. There's your winner.
He's being told right now,
Getting ready to go.
Justin Haley has won his first ever Monster Energy Cup Series race.
That was awesome, man.
Thank
You know,
you.
I mean,
I didn't do anything.
I know.
I did nothing.
Across the 2020s and into the first few years of the next-gen era in NASCAR, Spire slowly but surely got better and better as an organization on the track over each passing year. And behind the scenes, the team was working on building the foundation to become one of the better Cup teams in the garage, purchasing a third charter for the team for $40 million in 2023, while also purchasing Kyle Busch's truck team, setting up a place for them to hopefully create prospects and future stars to drive for them in the Cup Series. But where was all this money coming from? Most startup teams in the NASCAR Cup Series rarely become a success story. There's a reason Hendrick, Gibbs, and Penske have been running things for so long. And the startup teams that do have a success story like 2311 Racing have heaps of money from wealthy investors backing them. Well, so does Spire Motorsports. As late in 2024, it was learned that TWG Global, a billion-dollar investment holding company with ownership stakes in the Dodgers, Lakers, and F1's American team, was also majorly invested in Spire Motorsports, hoping to build their way into becoming one of the most competitive teams in NASCAR. Now with all this money floating around Spire Motorsports, they just needed a franchise driver.
Take one, Mark. Okay. It's my favorite part.
From the moment he entered a car for the first time, Carson Hocevar has been fueled by one thing: winning. Starting off his career by dominating in the local midget scene up in Michigan at under the age of 10, before soon transitioning into late models around the age of 12, where he'd continue his dominance by winning track championships and collecting a mountain of trophies from his years of racing. Soon enough, he'd find himself full-time in the NASCAR Truck Series for Nice Motorsports, where for the first time in his life, he wasn't winning, going 0 for 58 to start his career. However, it's not like he wasn't in position to win, it's just things never turned out right for him, or he'd just overdo it trying too hard to win.
All you kids watching right now, wanting to get to this level, don't do that. Race with respect. Don't wreck the guy on the outside of you trying to win your first race. It doesn't get you anywhere.
But a bold move at Texas Motor Speedway early in his third full-time season soon ended his long search for victory lane.
Touch, Nick Sanchez gets sideways, he wrecks! The 38
Carson Hocevar will be our winner.
Carson Hocevar.
Hocevar led only one lap all day, being the benefactor of an aggressive move on dominant truck Nick Sanchez, who led over the scheduled race distance in laps, but still wound up short.
I apologize to them. I'll take the fault for it. I wrecked a Chevy, but hopefully Chevy is in victory lane and I'll go talk to him. But he deserved to win for sure. But
get by. Oh, trouble front straightaway. Hard in the wall goes Hamlin. Chase Elliott.
Hard impact for Denny Hamlin.
That was a savage crash right at the start-finish line.
The inside of Chase gets loose. You see him lift out of the gas. The flames crowded Chase, got into him. But they saw some retaliation there.
Unbeknownst to anyone at the time, this move by Chase Elliott opened up Pandora's box, soon becoming what eventually paved the way for Carson Hocevar to become the star he is today. Hendrick gave Corey LaJoie his chance to drive the 9 during Elliott's suspension, which left an open cup ride to the 7 car at Gateway for Spire Motorsports, with Hocevar being selected for the seat. He'd roll off the grid in 26th place, and proceeded to outpace the 9 car for his entire race, in what was eventually his audition for Spire Motorsports, driving from outside the top 25 to near the top 15 in just 90 laps until a tire issue brought his day to an early end. Nevertheless, the young Hocevar showed he had cup potential, and when the Legacy Motor Club 42 car became available for certain reasons, he'd again step up for more cup starts, once again immediately outpacing the driver who he was replacing, and with less experience. The performance that stood out the most came at Bristol during the Cup playoff race, where he'd spend most of the night inside the top 10 at his debut at the track, before ending the race in 11th, the highest mark for the 42 team all season. So it was no surprise when the 20-year-old was signed to a multi-year deal by Spire Motorsport late in 2023 to drive full-time in the Cup Series in 2024. But he still had a Truck Series championship to win that year, where after a win at Homestead for his 4th win of the season sealed him into the Final Four, he'd be set up to race in what was soon to be the most controversial race of his life.
A lot of patience here as he tries to get around the 42 of Carson Hocevar to put him in championship form here.
He might do it right here, Jamie.
And he does it.
Big dive. Will there be a crossover here from Carson? They're all within 5 positions of each other right now.
Oh, and he spins him. Carson Hocevar gets into the back of Corey Heim and brings out the caution, the 7th one tonight.
I really don't understand that.
Well, he dove into turn 3 and popped him and went down in turn 1 and just spun him out.
And he's frustrated.
Well, I mean, I feel the same way he does.
How do you think Corey Heim feels right now?
And then moments later, that.
But watch Heim. Slides.
Carson Hocevar coming up on the 11 right here. And you see Taylor Gray around.
Yeah, that's what we call payback. You know, Corey doesn't wait.
Hocevar would be virtually called out by seemingly every driver he'd be racing in 2024, while also putting his reputation in the sport at an all-time low, right before he was set to begin his rookie season in the Cup Series. So how would it go for him? While driving for Spire Motorsports in the 77, expectations weren't too high for the rookie driver, as the up-and-coming team was still slowly building into the playoff contending team that it is today. But nonetheless, Hocevar put together a solid rookie season to start off on, as many of the team's best ever showings up to that point were seen in 2024, and mostly with Hocevar behind the wheel. Qualifying on the outside pole of the Southern 500 in Darlington, finishing 3rd behind SVG and Chris Buescher at Watkins Glen, or taking the lead at Kansas under green flag, despite only being for just a few laps, were all things unheard of for the 77 team coming into that season, eventually leading into Hocevar securing Rookie of the Year honors at season's end, finishing 21st in the standings. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, as he'd be docked 25 points and fined 50 grand for wrecking Harrison Burton at Nashville under caution, his first taste at true controversy at the Cup Series level. So what exactly makes a NASCAR driver a superstar over just a regular star in the sport? Well, I think it comes down to 3 things: marketability, likability, and recognition outside of the NASCAR world. Few drivers in the sport's history have managed to tie all these three things together to become a true star. Dale Jr., Jeff Gordon, and Kyle Busch fit the mold of this, but most notably Dale Earnhardt Sr. takes the cake as NASCAR's biggest icon. Like the other three drivers mentioned before him, he has all the three things I listed, yet his driving style and personality resonated with fans to give him a cult following that is still seen all across social media today. Search up a NASCAR edit on TikTok, not now, and I'm sure you'll immediately find Dale Earnhardt or one of the other drivers mentioned, as well as probably Carson Hocevar, who fits the three things listed. He's marketable, likable, and those outside of the NASCAR world know his name, largely stemming from his reckless and non-caring attitude towards its competitors week in and week out on the track. However, it's not just about being reckless and carefree with your actions on the track that'll make you a star, otherwise there'd be legions of Joey Logano and John Hunter Nemechek fans out there. Hocevar embraces the way he drives in a way that few drivers before him have done, and in being real with everyone.
You said you were going to dominate. Last time you dominated, I won. How are you going to hold me off? And if you are going to dominate, I really hope you do the same block she did. So hopefully have you learned your lesson?
It's garnered him a fan base that grows with each passing week. Now, I'm not saying Carson Hocevar is Dale Earnhardt, even with his constant LARPing of him, but on paper the two do have similar traits on the track in the contact making department, which is exactly the type of driver NASCAR themselves has been waiting for. Since around 2018, NASCAR has slowly been working on making the sport closer and more contact-based between the cars, to a good deal of success. The first shift was testing out a low horsepower package in 2018 at the All-Star race, which kept the cars closer together and, you guessed it, led to more contact and more crashes. So after leadership agreed this is what they wanted more of moving forward, the sanctioning body chose to slow down the cars that most of the tracks ran on during the 2019 schedule to create closer racing and higher contact races, like the ones you'd see at Daytona or Talladega, which always draw in the most viewership. The plan backfired on NASCAR, however, with miserable racing when they used that package over the next 3 seasons, and a complete lack of fan interest when the package was used. But why would NASCAR even want more contact on track? Well, contact often leads to controversy, and controversy is often entertaining.
As far as Kevin goes, just want to wish them a merry off-season and a happy Christmas.
And entertainment in this day and age helps fuel NASCAR's presence in the public eye from viral clips on social media. Stage racing, overtimes, and the playoffs were all largely stemmed from wanting to create more entertainment and contact-induced racing. So if you can't make an aero package that creates more contact, you have to take it a step further by taking it to a new generation of car. More drags to the lead car struggles to pull away, keeping the cars more packed together on restarts, composite brick bodies so you can slam into things on track and continue on like nothing happened, diffusers and underbodies that make clean air so important you refuse to give up any positions on track because if you do so, you probably won't get it back. This car has created the most aggressive racing scene in history week in and week out, which has led to some of the sport's most viral moments. But some of the aggressive racing truly comes from a difficulty to pass in the car, which leads drivers into making moves they necessarily don't want to make, but have to make, because they know it's probably their only chance they'll have at that pass for the next 30 laps, of course leading to more contact.
He does a nice job, and look at the 54 lose the nose. Reddick's like, I know what you're thinking.
Carson Hocevar came into 2025 with little expectations from the general public. I mean, how could you give a sophomore in Cup driving for a relatively new team, with just a handful of top 5s to their resume, a chance against competing against the legacy teams in the sport? But Hocevar quickly showed that Spire Motorsports had spent the offseason hard at work gaining speed. Finishing runner-up at Atlanta in a 3-wide finish under caution during the second race of the season, a race he very well could have won had it stayed green, and coming back strong over the next few weeks with starting spots of 4th and 3rd. Although the results often didn't show, Hocevar and the 77 team had true top 5 and even race-winning speed on certain occasions early in the 2025 season, with standout races at the Coca-Cola 600 as well as at his home track in Michigan, driving to the front in the 600 and asserting himself as a true threat before his engine grenaded while racing for the lead on a late restart.
With a good push. Oh, the 77's got major issues.
Something broke. Something is broke underneath the hood of the 77. That wasn't tire smoke. That looked like oil smoke or blew up. You heard it. The wreck behind, the chaos continues, but blew up over the radio. The great run, the heartbreak for the 77. It fucking blew up.
Then backing that up with a runner-up finish in Nashville, followed the next week by leading 32 laps at Michigan until his tire gave way from the lead late in the race, derailing any positive finish he would have earned.
That's why, as you say, it's so critical to manage it the right way.
He's got a flat tire.
Flat rear.
However, like a roller coaster, the highest of highs in 2025 would be followed by a low stretch, with Hocevar going through a disappointing summer on and off the track.
Let's see what happens with the 77 of Hocevar. Oh boy, just deep into the corner.
And look who he runs into.
Please tell me it's not
the 47. These guys are going to definitely brawl.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Ricky Stenhouse, I think, didn't like what happened in Nashville, but he definitely isn't going to like what's happening here. That is not going to work between the two.
There's just no room to work, and they're all wedged together here.
And that's the problem with this racetrack, where the spotters cannot see everything. You can tell that everybody's running into this wreck with no understanding that there are cars blocking the racetrack.
Carson Hocevar, qualified row 2.
Oh my goodness, such a hard lick right there. He spins right around in front of Dylan. And now here comes everybody piling into this crash.
Carson Hocevar's antics on the track made sure every NASCAR fan knew who he was, and even gifted him one of the most recognizable nicknames in the sport.
Look out, here comes the Hurricane. Hocevar is in the mix, in that black and red 77.
However, in my opinion, it's his social media presence off the track that truly separates him from every other driver on the grid. In his free time, you can find Carson Hocevar streaming on Twitch consistently, racking up nearly 50,000 followers on the platform. He'd use his Twitch to livestream an iRacing race during a rain delay in the middle of the Daytona 500, while also collaborating with some of the biggest names streaming had to offer, inviting Agent to Homestead, and showing him, as well as his audience, the ins and outs of NASCAR, later continuing on this a few months later by appearing on iShowSpeed's livestream at Daytona during his America tour in the summer of 2025. On his own social media, Hocevar connects with the youth in a way that no driver has managed to touch, with him having a unique ability to farm viral TikToks and Instagram reels seemingly every weekend.
Highlights until I get impressed.
And that's 85% more beef than some quarter-pound burger. Yeah. Hey, fast food, this is how you value meal. This Chili's 3 for me is the best $10.99 you can eat.
All this momentum off the track only continued with Carson Hocevar into 2026, appearing on a successful 5-episode documentary alongside Jesse Love and Roger Carruth on NASCAR's YouTube channel, as well as a mini-movie for the sport promoting their San Diego race. He'd branch out into the celebrity atmosphere by attending the Met Gala, an event you'd exclusively see a driver like Jeff Gordon or Dale Jr. in the past attend. His success outside of being in the race car carried with him into the 2026 NASCAR season in a big way, dicing it up late in the Daytona 500 for a chance to win NASCAR's biggest race as his first win, before wrecking while leading on the white flag after a poor push, followed the next weekend by him again making it known that he was the star of the show and would put his car anywhere he saw a place to put it.
Comes big push. Look at this! Whoa! The Hurricane to the bottom. Hocevar to second place. This is awesome. Hocevar for the lead on the outside. What a move. Way up there. Faked him on the inside, went to the outside. There he go. He went. Oh, Bell gets turned into the fence. That's Hocevar. He shot to the middle as soon as they cross when he gets the push from behind his chassis and gets to his bumper. Boom. Bell went to block on the outside a little bit. Bell did move up just a pinch, but it still wasn't a hole on the bottom.
Solid runs over the next few weeks kept the 77 safely inside the chase grid in points, and soon enough on April 26, 2026 at Talladega, he'd finally have his day in the sun as a Cup Series winner.
The 9's going to create another situation for this outside. He's coming on him.
Long ways to the start-finish line still.
Hocevar edging up on the bottom. They're 3 wide. Priest Contact, 4 cars into the wall. Leaders coming to the line. Number 13, first time winner, Carson Hocevar.
Like that with the...
But that's why you like this kid.
Yes, he's a thinker.
Always thinking outside the box and doing something different, paving his own way.
What a way to celebrate. That's unbelievable.
Well, I don't know that we can get it stopped, guys. There we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, shit. And a burnout.
Well, that's a Talladega win right there.
Remember where Ricky Bobby went at the end of Talladega Nights?
Chili's.
Yeah.
Of course, Hocevar would do something that hadn't been seen as a NASCAR celebration to make himself stand out, and with that win, it truly felt like he had arrived in the sport. A pole in top 10 the next weekend at Texas solidified this breakout season, with races like Michigan only confirming his fast driving style on the track while not caring about his other competitors.
Bubba to second. Look at Logano getting with it outside lane, racing around Herbst. And Hocevar right behind him. In the wake, taking the draft inside lane to fourth for driver 77.
Oh, he knew. He looked back there and saw who it was.
Oh no, Hocevar is gonna spin. Oh man, what a save.
Incredible job.
Carson Hocevar recently was named on a Time magazine's top 100 most influential sports figures in 2026, joining Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan as the only other names related to NASCAR to be featured on the list, and is currently locked down to Spire Motorsports on a multi-year deal to drive the 77, well into the future, with the sky as the limit for his rapid ascension and a stardom for his future. As of now, Hocevar has just hit over 300,000 Instagram followers, quickly making his way up the rankings in terms of NASCAR drivers' following counts, as he continues to collab and be featured on more and more things with more and more popular people. All of this outside success is just icing on the cake for Carson Hocevar, who has always been someone who just wanted to have fun and drive a race car. However, by simply just being himself in a sport full of drivers who lack personality and authenticity, he's well on his way into becoming one of the most recognizable names in the sport in recent memory. Funny how that works.